That was desperately disappointing. Thought we were going the right way. Thought the second half against Galway we showed a lot of what we expect, and then tonight we were completely outplayed by Dublin. So it just leaves a wee bit lost tonight, but we haven't enough of that time to think about it. We have another game next weekend, and now these matches towards the end of the league are really going to depend on our survival in Division 1.
6-3 up, and then I suppose that second quarter was the one that Dublin further into the league.
Yeah, it was 6-3 and we missed a goal chance. One cleared off the line, but it put us to 9-3, and I'm not saying that, but it seemed to hit us, and then within a few minutes Dublin got a goal, and Dublin really dominated. But I think even in the context of the game, they were dominating the kick out, and the kick out now is so important. But even the other thing too, we were probably playing to press them and to work them hard, force them to work out through us. But they were able to pick a pass, and before you knew it, the ball was down the field and they were coming to us in droves. So getting that balance right between pressing hard and trying to do an honest work up there and dropping off is really difficult, and especially in Croke Park where there's so much space. But it's something that it worked for us in the last couple of games when we really go after the match. It seemed to be the way we wanted to play, but tonight it didn't work.
Was Kieran had fallen injury in the warm-up?
Yeah, Kieran just felt a tight hamstring in the warm-up, and he had to withdraw him before the game. And then Niall Toner, same thing happened to him after a short period of time. Niall hamstring too, so he was gone. So we lost two of our better players earlier on, which is a bit of a blow to the team as well.
And after Ben Rogers' goal, there was a sort of a window there, but then they come back with 2 goals, and that sort of killed off the game.
It did, really disappointing. Now when Brendan got the goal, it looked as if we could maybe come back into the game. But then Dublin come back and we conceded a poor goal. One of them was a really good finish. You can't take it away in the second one. I'm sure Neil's very disappointed with it over his head. It's one that I'm sure he'll look back at with regret. But it killed the game out.
And then in terms of, I'm just thinking like Marty Bradley is the second league game, and there's a lot of interceptions. Is that a plus going into in terms of getting boys through into senior championship?
Well, it is through, and it is part of the process, which is hard because this league is pretty unforgiving. But we have to develop players. Now Lachlan come back in tonight. Paddy McGrogan got a good got a good period of time in the match. Young Callum McGrogan come on for a while, made his debut. Marty had more game time, so we're still at that point of trying to blood players and trying to bring boys back from who have been injured as well. So it is hard, but it's something we feel we have to do at the moment. Long term, we have to develop the squad, and I think Marty did pretty well tonight in that.
Desi Farrell's, and just before you touched on the scoring with the goals, really flattered things, but you have to pick them up, and it's done it all next, and as you say, you don't have much time. Is that just a challenge for the group now to just park that and head for Ballyshannon?
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge for us all. Everybody in that group has to really get back up again, and this is going to be tough because this is going to be a hard one to digest after that. But we have to pick out through the bones and see what was good, what worked for us, and we know that next week we go to Ballyshannon is going to be really difficult. Donegal are on a crested wave at the moment, but we need the points. We really do need the points at this stage, so we need a performance next week. And I'd like to think that there'll be a kick on the team.
Paddy, you mentioned the second goal was obviously soft enough. The first goal was soft too. Maybe we were lucky. Is that the trade-off? By playing so many goals with a goal?
There may be something in that, all right. Yeah, I think up to this point we nearly Neil's doing pretty well. He was the first game, the Kerry game, we conceded 5 goals, and there were. Some of them were, I wouldn't account or blame the goalkeeper for them. But tonight I think Neil will disappoint himself. There's a couple of goals he felt he probably should have done better on them. But that maybe is part of the trade-off. And I don't actually think, a strange way, that the goalkeeper really wouldn't have made as much difference tonight when you look back at the game, whether coming up was as big a play as it has been in other games. But sometimes it's only after the event you realise these things. But it's again, Neil's been outstanding this last couple of matches. You couldn't fault him for what he's done. He stood in there really well, and he'll be disappointed as anybody about the coach tonight.
It's a tricky thing to balance as well. It's just another aspect of the new rules, that you're doing something that you wouldn't have done say last season, and you have to try and work out how to do that.
Yeah, and everything, even in defensive shape, like most teams would have been very very content to play like a sort of a defensive game, drop men behind the ball. But now this 11-man defence in Croke Park, I think you'll see a lot more games they got in Croke Park this season if the rules stay the way they are. There's so much more space out there, and the teams that can exploit that space are going to really do well. I think in maybe the county grounds, the weather conditions and everything else, they're completely different to how that game plays out there. There's so much room. The ball moves a lot quicker, and I think tonight was definitely my first indication of how difficult these rules are going to be in terms of defensive work. Anyway, you still can score plenty. That's the other thing. You do get plenty of chances to get scores on the board, but defensively it's a much harder game. A lot more 1-to-1. You can't really drop off a mark space as much because then you leave the 2-point shots off. Any quick switch of play, and there's gaps going through the middle, and we were exposed tonight on that.
Paddy, just when they got on top of your kickers, kind of midway through the first half, it just looked like they were forcing it on, and Brian Howard was kind of competing very well. Is that more scientific that you can, like, when you're forced long on these kickouts now, like, is there much tactics in it, or is it literally supposed to try and kick it with this blind?
There is some in it, but sometimes it just comes down to really good individual play. I thought Brian Howard tonight was outstanding in the middle for Dublin. He seemed to boss the kick out. I thought Anton did really well for us. Anton, I think, won 6, maybe 7 clean kickouts out there, so he was very good. But Brian Howard maybe dominated from the Dublin point of view. But also Dublin won on the break ball, but they're very strong on him. I think that's what disappointed us tonight. We were pretty good. Now, in fairness, Niall, Conor and Cahir and McFall were 2 of our better break ball winners this last few matches, and both went off injured. And I think we didn't really adjust as well as that. But science-wise, it really is. The ball's going to go out to the middle now. It's really going down to back to midfielders who can win ball. There is certain things you can work on, but really the players have to take a lot of responsibility for that themselves. When in there, it's really fighting hard to get it sometimes, and just who wants it most.
Just on the surface, Paddy, because one thing you arrive earlier on, you go, wow, the pitch is like an absolute carpet now, when we're used to the rough and tumble of county grounds. But it seemed to, you touched on it there as well, but it seemed to significantly change the flow of the game at times. Yeah,
the Croke Park is magnificent when you go out on it, and it does play completely different than any other team. You see this over the years when you, even the heat of the championship, and you've and the old rules, the game's a different game. So that's a big adjustment as well. Obviously Dublin have had a game under it already this season. They're much more familiar we are. But that's a good thing for everybody to see that tonight, because they realise the next time they come back here, all being well, that they'll perform much better, and they'll be used to it.
And plenty of learnings to take forward from that as well.
Oh, there is. Listen, there's every game you're going to have learnings, and there are some good things as well. There's times I thought we played well. I think we got ourselves back into the game we looked to be gone out of. I think we started really well. Probably should have been further ahead. But it's hard when you get well beaten like that to look for positives at the moment. But there'll be a few.
And I suppose we've seen you were on the opposite end of it last week. The game can flow quite quickly. A result can go one way or the other quite quickly. Like Dublin got 1-7, I think, in a row. You chased back a big lead last week as well. The modern rules now, they allow for big swings like that to come very quickly.
It seems to be. Which is sort of, I still haven't worked out why that is. I'm not entirely sure. I think that maybe there's no breeze out there tonight. Sometimes it's the breeze, but definitely I still go back to midfield. I think the midfield now has just become so important. But also then maybe tonight we were trying to probably play a type of football that's going to take time for us to adjust and to change. Traditionally this last few years, Derry have been very sort of set in low block defence, 15 men behind the 45, and sort of wait until the opposition coughs up the ball and hit them in the break. That game's not there any longer. You can't play like that. Now you're playing with 11-man defence. It's a different game, and it's going to take time to adjust that. And I think the teams that are going to adjust that quicker this year will be more successful.